Hey everybody, have you noticed I've not been posting on very much, but today there's about to change because something I got to talk about. Now today I gotta go to school, well I gotta go have some breakfast and have a dental appointment, but I thought, hey, why not talk about something quick? Now, as many of you know, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and this year marks the 20th anniversary of the original Tobey Maguire film releasing. And yeah, and I'm very happy that this film has now hit 20 years. Now I know that DVDs aren't as big as they used to be, but I would love to one day see a, well, a 20th anniversary DVD where we see a bunch of deleted scenes that were never before seen, a bunch of other special editions, everything from every kind of catalog, documentaries, and all put into one mega 20th anniversary DVD. Whether or not Sony would still want to do that nowadays, considering right now DVDs are not really the big thing anymore, I'll still hope they do it, even if it means a lot of money is getting spent on something that won't be big anymore. Do I still collect DVDs? Hell yes. I plan on collecting many more DVDs in the future. Heck, I haven't even completed my own Spider-Man collection. I gotta get The Amazing Spider-Man 2, other movies on DVD. I've seen them on Netflix, and I own them on Blu-ray, but I want to get one row on HD, and the other one on Blu-ray. 2 copies of each. So yeah. Nonetheless, yeah. So as you guys know, 2002, it's been now 20 years. So that means anyone born in that time is now 20 years old. And this also means it's now been 20 years since the release of the very first Spider-Man film. And what's surprising is that each time there's been a big anniversary of the film, a film was released on it. 10 years later, The Amazing Spider-Man. 20 years later now, well, Morbius. Whatever that movie is, I haven't seen it, but whatever that movie is, yeah. Nonetheless, it's been 20 years. Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe recently reunited last year's Spider-Man No Way Home, along with Alfred Molina and Thomas Hayden Church from Spider-Man's 2 and 3. Even though the franchise that Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire started back in the day is long gone, it's still a big franchise, because back in the day, well, superhero movies are pretty poor after Batman and Robin killed off the golden age, and starting golden age of superhero comic book movies. There was a golden age where there were a lot of good superhero movies. But eventually, Batman and Robin killed them. But it took... Blade it started interest, but it never really reinvigorated it. X-Men and Spider-Man 1 were the ones that laid the groundwork so that other movies following could do it. So that means Blade 2, Blade Trinity, Hulk 2003, Daredevil. I know, other movies, the X-Men sequels, the Spider-Man sequels could lay the groundwork for future films. And during the film's production, many times Sony did actually interfere on the project. Now, Sam Raimi fought back and kept what he kept. Now, unfortunately, them interfering in the films would get worse and worse. I understand why you would interfere in the very first film. This is the first film where everything happens. There was even infamously cancelled Spider-Man movies far before this. There was 2 different attempts at a canon version of the canon's incarnation of Spider-Man. Before that, there were 3 live-action Spider-Man. An Electric Company's ad, the American version and Japanese version in the 70s. Those versions. And then Canon tried to make it twice. After that, Carol Coe tried to make it. And then, well, as we know, James Cameron and David Fincher gave their infamous pictures very well-known pictures of Spider-Man, especially James Cameron's, which I've heard about, and I really do think it was a unique story that was still kept to the core of the character, but, made it a James Cameron film. Same thing with David Fincher. And he was actually reapproached for the Amazing Spider-Man films for his gritty take. And to anybody who says they missed the point of his character, the Amazing Spider-Man films, even as garbage as they are, or as bad as they can be, they don't miss the point of his character. But that will be far later in the video. After that, Sam Raimi then got to work. Sam Raimi then was finally hired for his passion on the Spider-Man film. And over time, the script still had Elektra and Sandman from James Cameron's incarnation of the film. Eventually, he went for Green Goblin and Doc Ock, but then soon decided to cut just down to Green Goblin, 1, due to the personal connection, and 2, make it a much more focused and condensed film. And if you watch it, it is a much more condensed and focused film. And like a lot of people say, the only thing that drags it down is the origin story. Is there a reason as to why I put it up to number 1? Yes, I love Spider-Man 2. I love that one. That honestly is the best out of the entire trilogy. It puts Peter on his limit. It tests that power and responsibility. I think Spider-Man 3 is alright. I never hated it. At one point I really did, but now I don't mind it. Amazing Spider-Man 3, again, I don't mind it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I superiorly do not like that one. Has Morbius taken its place? Maybe. Now, Homecoming, I liked that one. Into Spider-Verse and Venom, both liked them. I liked both those movies. I loved Into Spider-Verse. I liked Venom. Far From Home was alright. It was a good movie. Wasn't a great Spider-Man movie as people kept saying on the internet back in the day. I don't know as to why they annoyingly kept saying it was the best movie as ever possible. But nonetheless, yeah. Overall, all the movies are good. I like the original. It's a timeless story. It's classic. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't need to reinvent itself. I can see why The Amazing Spider-Man went darker in tone. One, they were trying to match the Dark Knight films, which was purely awesome. And two, well, they were trying to reinvent the character. I understand why they went for grittier tone. It reinvented the character. The character, Spider-Man and Batman are two characters that have this special power that not other comic book characters really have. They had the power to go between a lighthearted tone and a dark tone. Characters like Daredevil, Punisher, and a lot of other characters, Moon Knight, and a lot of these other grittier Marvel characters, none of the characters can't really go between that. Yeah, other characters like Wolverine and Wonder Woman can go between dark and lighthearted tone. There are many heroes that can flip between it. Spider-Man and Batman have been successful examples of going between lighthearted and dark tone. Wonder Woman and Batman have had, Wonder Woman and Wolverine have had various success depending on it. And yeah, they've had various success depending on what happens. Nonetheless, I do think that the film was amazing overall. When Sam Raimi released it 20 years ago, it was a hit. And obviously garnered a sequel. And after that film succeeded, then it garnered another sequel. But during the film's production, they were going to have Sandman and Green and New Goblin / Harry Osborn as the villains. And Vulture introduced in it. But Avi Arad, forced Sam Raimi to put Venom in a character he wasn't really interested in. And obviously, in my opinion, the take was not really done well. I do think he should have bulked on a few more muscle. And anybody who says Topher Grace and Tobey Maguire miscast, as I've heard a few people say as I heard one TikToker in particular say they were miscast, have your opinion, but to that, fuck off. If you think that, just go away. Fuck off. Fuck off, please. Screw off. If you think they're miscast, you don't know anything about that. Fair enough. You think they're miscast? Fair enough. But if they're not, they're there. I'm not saying that to the people who think they were perfectly cast in their roles. Fair enough. People who think that Eddie Brock was miscast. Fair enough. If you think Tobey Maguire was miscast, I do not judge you for that. But come on, just screw off if you think they're miscasted. Because Tobey Maguire was a great Spider-Man. He played the role good. He may have been a flaw. He may have not done the perfect Spider-Man. He did the best Peter Parker though, and he did a Spider-Man written by Raimi. Raimi, I think, tried to write that Spider-Man much more realistically, that he wouldn't quip so much. So I'm not surprised as to why he didn't quip so much. Now realizing that, well, it was his take on the character. And not to mention, if you guys ever played the Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 time movie video games, you actually find that in the games, he constantly throws a quip. So luckily, true comic Spidey, not gone. So yeah, that is the only thing that a lot of fans weren't happy with was obviously the organic webbing. After this, obviously, we got the Amazing Spider-Man films, which a lot of people have said, well, you know, they missed the mark of the character so far. They don't show what he means or represents. And a lot of people, yeah. And a lot of, and often in conversations I've had with some people, they've said like, the studio, I've often talked about how the studio interviews and say, well, the studio is back funding it. I understand what they're saying. Like, the studio is funding it and they want to be careful what they release it, but to the point now that it's been 20 years now since Spider-Man 1 was released, and they had a lot of successful Spidey films, I don't really get why Sony must continue to interfere in the films if they should know that the films are gonna succeed. I get why maybe they would have interrupted Spider-Man 3. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the way it is made and written, you can just tell that it's clear that studios cannot make a movie. Fantastic and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 are two studio examples that studios can't make a film. You can't just shovel these plot lines into the film, rip away the director's entire vision, flip the script and change everything halfway through, and then just expect it to go all well and true. And I do think, yes, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 flipping its tone was not a good idea. It should have gone a bit more lighthearted, but flipping the tone entirely like a DCEU vibe, to make it go lighthearted and colourful like Raimi's, I don't really think, jazzed with me. Because I liked the dark tone. It's what made it so different and unique. In my opinion, even as a kid, when I really did not like this movie, the dark tone really made it unique. And also, what's another coincidence and cool thing that I get to discuss here, it's also been 10 years since the Amazing Spider-Man's release. So happy birthday to both these movies. Now, if you asked me 10 years ago, did I love Spider-Man 1? I would have said it's the best movie ever. If you asked me about Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, I would have said it was the worst movie imaginable. It's a piece of garbage. Now I think The Amazing Spider-Man's good, and Spider-Man 1 is great, along with Spider-Man 2. That's the thing. Like, Spider-Man 1's a really good movie, and it's a timeless classic storyline. And although my friends and a lot of them have asked who are their favorite Spider-Man, they often say Tom Holland or Andrew. I agree. But who is the best Spider-Man? Tom Holland. In my opinion, he is the best live-action Spider-Man. He combines the best of both worlds. Who is the best Peter Parker? Tobey Maguire. Who's the best Spider-Man? Andrew Garfield. Who has the best origin story? Tobey. Who has the best power set? Well, Andrew, in my opinion, he is very... Andrew or Tom, it comes between those two. Who's the strongest? Tom. Who's the fastest? Who's the most... Who has the best spider sense? Andrew. Who's the... Well, yeah. Who's the strongest? But yeah, you know what I mean. Who's the most durable? All this. It's all debating many, but my favourite Spider-Man will always be Tobey Maguire. I love Andrew Garfield, and I love all three of them in the role. I think they've all suffered equally as Spider-Man. All of them have suffered quite equally. That is, I don't really think one has suffered more than the other. Maybe I'm contradicting myself on that, I probably am, but my opinion right now is that all three of them have suffered. Doesn't matter what they've suffered and how far it's gone, they've all suffered. Every Peter's lost their parents, their Uncle Ben, even their best friend. Stuff like that. Whether or not they died, or whether or not they went insane. It's stuff like that yeah. Stuff like that just, yeah, you know. Besides that, I think, yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man movies are alright. And thinking back on them 10 years back, they were good movies. I think Sony should have let Mark Webber let his True Blue vision out, and then the film would have been probably more receivable. So, yeah. And yeah, had they let The Amazing Spider-Man 2 be its true self, I think it would have been also a much better film. The film's alright, but it's still really bad. Would I rather watch it over Transformers 4? Yes, most definitely I'll watch that over Transformers 4 any day of the week. Would I watch Fan Stick over Transformers 4? No, I'll watch Transformers 4. I do not want to watch Fan Stick. I've gone 7 years without watching that movie at all. I'm going to keep that record. I've only seen clips, and I've only seen trailers and clips. I'm going to keep going I'm going to keep going for years and years without seeing that movie. But nonetheless, how did it affect me? Well, I saw it when I was 4, a year after Transformers, so it did make me become a fan of him. So, yeah, it was a very good movie. What would I give it? A 10 out of 10. I think it's a great movie. The origin story does weaken it back a bit, but it's still overall a good movie. I think the costume's cool. I don't really care if it's nice to have a consistent costume. That's why I like. In particular, that's why I like Tobey's trilogy, is he has one consistent costume. I like Tom's costumes. I like the variety they have. I personally like Tobey's suits because it has consistency. They don't need to overtly overdo and give him a new suit every film to keep things fresh. I don't know why he needs a physical upgrade to make him look fresh and new. Now, I get why. Maybe because they don't want to see just the plain old classic suit Spider-Man's always known for wearing. But I do think, yeah. And who has the best classic suit? Tobey, Andrew, or Tom? Sound off in the comments below. All three of them have a good one. I think the most comic accurate is definitely who has the best one. Who has the best looking one? Tobey. I do think he has the best looking one. Who is the most accurate one that's the design of the comics, like literally flipping off the comics? Definitely Tom. The moving eye lenses, the poppy colors, everything. Who has the most modern day redesign of it? Andrew. He clearly has the most modern day redesign of it. And yes, the suit in No Way Home, what's a cool detail is the suit he's wearing in No Way Home, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, is most definitely the suit that he took. Because 8 years ago when he did the film, he took the suit and kept it. So it's likely that suit he's using for this film. Tobey's obviously got updated considering the 2007 4 and 2 one are all old. I did see a TikTok or a YouTube short on Doomblazer saying that he couldn't wear the 2002 one, even though it would have made more sense for him to wear the 07 one from Spider-Man 3, considering that was the third film. But nonetheless, all those suits will be very old now, and all these suits, well, likely this would have happened to them. One, they would have been dismantled and ripped to pieces and destroyed, because they weren't really used. They were sold off and auctioned off to fans and people everywhere and collectors. Or 3, they were given to the actors. And 4, They're put on display in museums. I think some of the suits would have been given one. Toby would have gone at least one suit. The one upgrade I do think that he gets a new suit with is the fact that he gets like actual zippers in the back. Like it's a much more thinner fabric, and he gets zippers at the back of his suit, like Andrew and Tom did for their suits. So that I gotta admit that's nice. And if I always imagine the perfect Toby suit, it'd be the one he has right now, the red and blue, or the spider for same spider, and make the webbing black and make the eyelids a bit bigger. That's all I request if I did a Spider-Man Tobey Maguire suit. Andrew's, it's pretty fine as it's fine as it is. The only thing I'll probably change is the logos for the original Amazing Spider-Man 1 logo, as I like them much more. Maybe swap the front one and then keep the back one. And then then Tom's one is perfect. Everything. But overall, the film made me love Spider-Man, and it's the reason I do love superheroes. I saw Spider-Man long before Batman or any other hero. Transformers I saw a year before that when I was 3. These films helped me want to get in the comics. It's not necessarily when somebody says, when did you die a person become a geek? You don't die and become a geek. You just become one. You don't die. You don't get reborn or any of that weird stuff that they try to add on and make it look more big and massive than it actually is. You're just a fan. Am I a geek? Yeah, but I don't really like the title of that. Give me that title. I like calling myself a fan because I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of all these stuff. I don't want to call myself a geek. It's not because it's a weird name. I prefer to be called a fan. Because that's what I am. A fan of all these properties. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Iron Man, Captain America, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. All these heroes I'm fans of because all these superheroes, everything I watch, the whole reason all these posters that are superheroes that are around my room are because of Spider-Man 1. The reason I have a Marvel calendar, a picture of a Spider-Man 1 logo that I asked my dad to print out on his printer because I wanted that cool logo because I thought he was the best. I have an Iron Man poster from Iron Man 2. I have a Batman poster. I have a Spider-Man posters over there. I have pictures of Iron Man drawings. I have Spider-Man posters over there. I have a bunch of Spider-Man memorabilia. I have a Wolverine Marvel Legions figure. I have all of that. I have all of that because of that movie. I have this toy mask. I made a little dinky light of this, and when I was in term 1 and 2 of took it all intermediate school. I was supposed to hear the name of my school. Oh. But yeah, see what I mean? Like, all this, the magazine, and Empire magazine on Spider-Man Homecoming, all this is because of Spider-Man. Transformers, well, that's because of me, my mum wanting to watch Transformers. But yeah, all my likings, nothing would be possible if it was. My loving for superheroes would not be possible without them, without the nudge from my mother, considering, well, her love for these movies when I was little pushed me to want to love them myself. And well, my autism being the thing that pushes me to want to learn, be a habit that I like learning everything when I get into something new. Yeah, I have newer likings, like Stranger Things, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, other things that I like, Gotham technically counts as a Marvel thing, but like I said, I may get newer likings, but those ones that stay with me for a long time will stay with me. Thomas the Tank Engine, even that one, I would probably go back and rewatch one day. Would I rewatch the current season? No. Would I rewatch the reboot? Nope. I'm not watching the reboot, and I'm not watching the original, the CGI show. I will watch only some of the seasons of that, and I do think had they actually, written the Big World, Big Adventure seasons, that would have been a way better show. And the reboot would have taken its intended course instead of them having to cut everything off and go for a new series. But nonetheless, continuing on with the series. Yeah, overall, I think it was a great series. Overall, I thought it was a great film. Spider-Man 1 was a 20-year-old film that's great. And I'm very happy Sony's actually celebrating it. Because if you go on YouTube, you can actually find the first 20 minutes of Spider-Man 1, or first 10 minutes of the first Spider-Man film. And 2 videos celebrating Spider-Man's history. And likely one day, digital and physical releases of the Spider-Man 1 film to celebrate 20 years in the cinema. So yeah, to overall say, this was an awesome video. And what will I say to those who made it? Well, the fact that I'm a small YouTuber and no one will even notice this, I'll just say thank you to Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Willem Dafoe, J.K. Simmons, Rosemary Harris, Cliff Robertson, even producers like Avi Arad, Laura Ziskin, Sony, Marvel, Kevin Feige, all the big schmucks, and especially Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, who obviously passed away 4 years ago. But overall, yeah, I thank them for the movie. It's an awesome movie to revisit. I will still watch it again and again. I've already rewatched it recently for its 20th anniversary. I'm also watching The Amazing Spider-Man. I've already watched both those for their 20th and 10th anniversaries. And yeah. And eventually I will watch Spider-Man 3 in the far future. I still will watch it in between that, but I will watch that and another Transformers 1 for my 18th birthday. Because, well, they did come out when I was born. So it would make sense that when I become an adult, when I become a teen adult, I watch those movies to finish that off. So, yeah. Nonetheless, yeah. So that's the video, guys. After this video, you won't really see much of me. No worries, I'm not quitting YouTube. I'm not going to say like, oh, blah, 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 I can't take this anymore, blah, 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 I'm back. That's not going to happen because I love doing this. I have a lot of more videos that I'm going to do. I'm not leaving, and literally I only took 1 or 2 months off, so it's not that bad. And then the next minute, I took a year off. Nah, my jokes are dry as hell, and my humor is dry as this book and paper right now. But nonetheless, yeah, I have plans for doing a lot of reviews. I think I have about 4 or 5 reviews already written. The scripts are already written. I just need to film it. Nonetheless, you guys, I'm going to go get ready for breakfast and have my food. And you guys, thanks to Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, and all the lovely, beautiful cast and producers of Spider-Man. Thank you guys for making up me and many other children's childhoods. And also thank you to Mark Webb, Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and others for making up others' childhoods, including my own, because I did watch that when I was 5. So it did have an impact on me knowing about reboots and unique ways to take of characters. And I do love the take. I don't really think it was unique, but I like both their takes. So yeah, happy birthday. Happy 20th anniversary to Spider-Man 2002, released in 2002, directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. And a happy 10th anniversary to The Amazing Spider-Man, released in 2012, and starring Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, which is really, right now, been really undervalued at it's hit 10 years. Because a lot of films get really big when they hit 10 years. Transformers, other films have all gone big when they've hit 10, so... Okay, so yeah. But nonetheless, yes, most movies aren't really given the 10th anniversary thing that much, so yeah. Nonetheless, I very much hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you heard some sounds in the background, that was just one of my parents moving around the house, and my dog who broke into my room and stole my clothes. But yeah, nonetheless, happy 20th anniversary to Spider-Man 2002, and happy 10th anniversary to The Amazing Spider-Man. As well, whilst one gets, being the 2002 one, gets a lot of favoritism, the latter, not so much. So I just wanted to give them a little happy birthday to both of them, and yeah. Nonetheless, sound off in the comments, where were you when Spider-Man 2002 came out? I was not even born yet, because I was born about, I think, 5 years after the film came out. So yeah, so to those who were born in 2002 or born after that who watched that film, sound off the comments down below, where were you and all that, and what did you think of the movie? And where were you when the Amazing Spider-Man came out? As I know, a lot more people who were born when I was born were now alive around when that film came out. Nonetheless, yeah. Happy 10th anniversary to The Amazing Spider-Man. Happy 20th anniversary to Spider-Man 2002. So yeah, with that, I'll leave you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of that content. And yeah, no links in the description, just a nice description telling the happy anniversary. Now I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat my food and bye. I'm gonna have Wheat Bix for breakfast. Nonetheless, see you guys. Have a very good day, and it was nice to check you guys out. And I'm not changing the name Movie Master. So those who were wondering, I'm not changing the name. I like it. So yeah. Nonetheless, thank you guys, and see ya.